everybody. Thank you for being here. Welcome to the Godly Trading Podcast. It is Sunday evening. It's time for our end of the year open Q&A session. So, by the way, real quick, if you have any questions whatsoever about what we do or about what you would like to learn about, or if you ever had any questions of any sort, go ahead and drop them in the comments. By the way, let us know where you're watching from. Both, hey, on planet Earth and platform-wise, we're trying to figure out, YouTube, Facebook, which one's more common. So drop your comments and your questions into the chat, and Mr. Producer over there will put them up for me. Before I get started, by the way, yes, you can see the shirt that I'm wearing. We are so happy, right? The Saints actually have won 3 games in a row. We're going to the Super Bowl as participant, not to participate, just to watch. But anyway, tonight, before we get going, I wanted to mention 2 things that we have. Just because it's the end of the year and just because Christmas is coming doesn't mean our regular schedule stops. So Tuesday evening, we have if you go to godlytrading.com, that would have been so fantastic if it had been perfect. Godly Trading Illinois, fantastic. We have our Kansas City. We have our webinar that is coming up on Tuesday evening. We're doing it every Tuesday night. And this webinar is for people that struggle with the concept of trading as a Christian. And it's called the 5 Lies that stop Christians from trading and how to overcome them. So if you know anybody that has ever had any questions about trading and wonders how you put these 2 somewhat contradictory ideas together, hey, I want to make money through the financial markets and I'm a Christian, you just got to have them go to godlytrading.com and sign up for this. It's a free webinar, completely free, lasts about 45 minutes, unless I get going and geek out on the Hebrew words there. Tennessee on YouTube, fantastic. Thank you very much for letting me know that. So godlytrading.com, and you can sign up for the free webinar. It's going to happen this Tuesday night, and it's at 7 Central. Now, also, we have our challenge coming up again in January. So this is a 5-night challenge. We're trying to do these once a month, and it is this is a deep, in-depth dive into how to get started as a Christian trader. And we do for an hour a night. Again, we start everything. This one starts at 6 p.m. Central for most people. If you sign up for the VIP sessions, that one starts at 5, so you get 2 hours, but there's a 1 hour of coaching and Q&A in that. But anyway, that starts January the 5th and runs through January the 9th. So it's Monday. Is it the first Monday in January? Possibly. Runs from Monday to Friday. So you can sign up for that at godlytrading.com/challenge. All right. Fantastic. So here we are at the end of the year, and it's been an impressive year amongst other things. By the way, thank everybody for watching. We are this close to hitting 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. Really excited about that. Mr. Producer wants us to do a thing. I don't know what we're going to do, but we'll do a thing. If anybody has any suggestions on how we'll be celebrating crossing the 1,000 subscriber threshold, let us know. But the main reason we are here is to help serve all of you. So if anybody has any questions about what we're doing, also just be aware, for those of you who are trading and have various services you sign up for, like for instance, TradingView. I have no affiliation with TradingView other than I use TradingView. They always give like an 80% off subscription. Their subscription is like $400 or $500 a year, but this time of year you can usually get them for $100, something like that. So bear that in mind. Also, most of the prop firms out there are running sales on accounts. I just signed up for one yesterday with a prop firm I've used in the past, City Trader Emporium with an I, not an E. They're running a sale. So just be aware that this time of year, these tools that we use as traders tend to go on sale. And sadly, for TradingView, I never pay my subscription. I just wait for the end of the year and take their sale. I don't know how much money they're giving up by giving us 80% off, but anyway, there is that. So, all right, Mr. Producer, do we have any questions that you can type in, or do you need to just read them out loud because you don't like typing? Do you want to? All right, sorry, give him 1 second. He's going to cut and paste. And go ahead and send in any questions you might have in the chat. The whole point of this is to answer the questions that people normally have about Christian trading and how to use the Bible. Man, I'm a terrible host because I don't actually have my Bible in front of me. How we can answer the call that the Bible is the world's best trading manual. And everything that I've ever learned that has made me a better trader, I have learned from these pages. So, all right, question number one. Is trading actually biblical, or am I just trying to justify making money this way? So my sons, the Mr. Producer and the IT department, used to have a youth minister who would talk about this concept called a Jesus juke, right? What's a Jesus juke? Well, that's when you're talking about some subject and suddenly, and by the way, Jesus said this thing, and you're like, really? You're not tying those together at all. You're just like suddenly sprinkling Jesus over the top. So is trading really biblical? Tom Brady okay, we're not going to get banned by YouTube by talking about Tom Brady, because as we all know, Drew Brees is the best quarterback to ever play. Anyway, is trading actually biblical, or are we just kind of sprinkling God over the top of it? Well, the passage that I always turn to, and we're actually going to be taking a deep dive in this on our webinar, is the parable of the talents from Matthew. Now, what's interesting, I think, by the way, a lot of the wealth concepts, the passages that we turn to when we think about what does the Bible say about money, a lot of them are from Matthew, which kind of makes sense. Matthew was a tax collector, so his entire worldview was shaped by his view of money, his old view and his new view. But in the parable of the talents, the owner, the master, the employer, whatever you want to call him, who leaves town and leaves his three dudes 5 talents, 3 talents, and 1 talent. By the way, if you're thinking there were 10 of them, that's Luke. That's the story in Luke. This is the story in Matthew. Also, by the way, a talent is a unit of measurement. And a talent back in those days was about 70 pounds. 70 pounds of gold is like 1,100. I say like 70 pounds is exactly 1,120 ounces. 1,120 ounces of gold at the closing price of gold on Friday, which was about $4,300 an ounce, is $2.4 million. So the wicked servant, the one who buried it in the ground, he buried $2.4 million in the ground. I hope he had a map. Imagine if he had forgotten where he put it. It's like, I swear it was by that rock. You know that rock I'm talking about? You know that rock? Yeah, that's where it was. Where that dead sheep was 3 years ago, that's the rock. Anyway, so the guy leaves town, and it says that they went out. The servants who were given money, went out and traded. Now, the word there in the Greek is ergazomai. And I remember that because it's a hard word to forget, ergazomai. And it means to trade, to do the work of a trader, to gain by trading. Now, that doesn't mean they were trading the Euro US or Tesla. They could have been investing in caravans. They could have been investing in ships. They could have been investing in the exchange rate between the denarius and the drachma. But it means they were actively participating in some business endeavor that wasn't long-term investment. Which brings up a point and a rabbit that I am going to chase ever so briefly. I know my producer's glaring at me. Stop chasing rabbits. By the way, continue dropping your questions if you have any. What most Americans who think the standard line that I was raised with: get a good job, get a house, retire, and die. Right? That's the plan for your average male, at least. And sure, invest, but because we don't trade, right? That's risky. That's all that voodoo stuff we don't understand. We're just going to invest. Well, investing, the way most Americans think of investing, it's just trading without a plan, right? Because think about what does investing mean? Well, I'm going to put some money into some stock at some price, and I'm going to hold it for some period of time, and then at some point in the future, I'm going to sell it for some other price. It's just trading without an exit plan. So, absolutely, trading is in the Bible. And look, I understand the hesitance for a lot of Christians to talk about money. Let me rephrase that. I understand that there is a hesitance to talk about money. I don't know why. We don't talk about it. People are afraid to talk about money for some reason. One of my favorite YouTube channels, Myron Golden, when people say, well, money won't solve your problems. And he's like, well, money will solve your money problems. Money's just a tool. It's like saying, as a Christian, I can't talk about a hammer. It's just a tool. So, is trading actually biblical? It's not unbiblical. It's not biblical. We are the ones, our behavior is what's biblical and unbiblical. Trading is an endeavor, like trading is a skill like juggling, which I will not do here live because I'm really bad at it. But trading is a skill like juggling. And it's an exercise like plumbing or building a house or being a teacher. It's just a thing that people do. It's us that are applying the wisdom in here. So if you can be a teacher and a Christian and apply biblical principles to the way you teach, then yeah, you can be a trader and apply biblical principles to the way you trade. Good question. All right. Any others? He's working on it, he says. All right. How do I know the difference between trusting God and just hoping a bad trade turns around? I have heard, and you probably all have heard, this a strategy out there. This is the investing that I just mentioned. Buy and hold. A pejorative way of saying that would be buy and hope. So the answer to the question is that you never enter that situation in the first place unless you have a plan for the whole thing. You don't just pick something at random. Oh my goodness, I do want to chase a rabbit. I really want to chase a rabbit.
No.
I'm not chasing a rabbit. You don't just pick something at random like the folks over at the Flat Earth Trading Society do, which I would highly recommend everyone go watch that video and hope that it works out for the best. Even they, Flat Earth Trading Society folks, pick things at random and then applied a plan. So hope is no way, we don't hope. We have faith, right? Hebrews 11:1 says, now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. We have faith, but it is rooted in something. It's not just rooted in randomness. Before we even click the first button, ideally, we have spent the time, we have scoured the scriptures, we have prayed, and we have created a plan. And then we go out and we execute that plan. The same way if you had a restaurant. Jesus says in one of the parables, Ollie, if you're out there, find this for me. What man who wants to build a tower? And actually, I don't know why we're building towers. But anyway, Jesus says, what man who wants to build a tower doesn't first sit down and count the cost? In other words, come up with a plan. Now, I don't remember where this is. Somebody's going to pop up the comment for me to show me where this is. But the whole point is, and he goes on to say, hey, because you get halfway through and run out of money, and then everybody's pointing and laughing, going, yeah, he tried to build a tower, and he didn't count the cost first, and he doesn't have enough money to finish. They weren't very good at smack talk back then, apparently. But we don't go over there. We don't do the thing unless we have the plan already in place to do the thing. How you do anything is how you do everything. And trading is no different than the rest of your life. You wouldn't buy a house willy-nilly hoping that, you could get the right mortgage. You would go through all the steps ahead of time and then buy the house as per the plan that you have in place. Trading's the same way. Every day you wake up and you follow your plan. Trading's just 5 things. We will not get into the 5 steps of trading in the webinar. We will get into the 5 steps of trading in the challenge. I knew you'd come through for me, brother. Luke, really? Really? Luke 14:28. What man who wants to build a tower, doesn't first, again, I'm going to have to go do a word study on what that word tower means, because why are we building towers? Anyway, absolutely. Hope is not a plan. And when we execute our plan, we're not hoping. We're trusting the system that we have built and we have faith in. By the way, I heard someone, I think it was Myron Golden, said that faith and doubt are both beliefs. They're equal beliefs. Faith is belief in an outcome that you want, and doubt is belief in an outcome that you don't want. And in that sense, hope is lack of belief in the outcome that you want. Because if you think about it, I hope it works. I believe it's going to work. There's a difference. And one is rooted in faith and one is rooted in nothing, to be honest. It's, the fellow who built his house, not on a foundation. And I guess Jesus probably used construction metaphors a lot because he was a carpenter's son. By the way, I'm going to say this. I'm going to chase this rabbit for like 3 feet, and I'm going to pull the ripcord because it will get us banned. All these people who think that Jesus was a poor carpenter, they might be wrong. Even Indiana Jones, when he's trying to pick the right goblet because the fella just had his face melted off from drinking out of the wrong one, reference him as a poor carpenter. Jesus was a carpenter. He was a master of woodwork in a time when wood working was the height of the economy. The entire economy was based on wood, right? Jesus was referenced not as a carpenter's son. He was referenced as the carpenter's son. Anyway, not chasing that rabbit any further. What we got next? All right. How did you get into trading? So this is an interesting story. When I was in the 6th grade, which is upper elementary school, I don't know, the different states have different things. When I was in the 6th grade, our class participated in the Mississippi stock market game. And we actually won our whatever region and had a really, nice lunch at the state capitol. After that, I just sort of kept this interest. And my father was a serial entrepreneur who loved to foster that belief in his children. So he saw this thing that I like to do, and for my 12th birthday, he gave me a subscription to Louis Rukeyser's magazine. Now, I am probably the only person here old enough to remember Friday night on PBS, Wall Street Week with Louis Rukeyser. Anyway, 12 years old, I'm learning this thing, and he was my biggest champion of that. And so about 20 years ago, I decided I'm going to learn this offshoot of investing called trading. And it was fascinating. And it just sort of clicked with my whole Lego left brain, everything that I love to do. Piddled around with it for a while. And then in 2015, my father passed away. And it sort of, has anybody ever had one of those moments in life when something happens and you say, now I'm going to get serious about whatever it is, right? So you have a heart attack and now you get serious about eating better, or you have a whatever it is. And now, has anybody else had one of those moments that happened to you? And the moment sort of gave you a kick in your complacency. You said, now just drop me something in the chat if this has ever happened to you, and maybe a reference to what it was. If you've ever had something that happened to you that spurred you to make a change, to get serious about something. So that was me in 2015. My father passed away, and I took that as the impetus to finally get serious about trading. And started with stocks, never did futures, which is unusual these days. But started out day trading, was really poor at day trading. Had a conversation with God driving to work one day that I did not enjoy. Long story short, wrote a book about it. I'm now a swing trader. And it's been an interesting road, but one that I'm glad I went on. Here's the thing, though. Everybody should trade. Anybody can trade, right? The famous French philosopher. Are you okay? My producer's dog is laying down next to the producer, who has his shirt up over his nose like this, as if there's a gas mask. So if I keel over,
there's a gas leak.
There's a gas leak in the room. Anyway, thanks to Jethro, I have now lost my train of thought. Do we have the next question out there?
Oh wait, this one, Polly sent it one.
How do I honor God with feelings of greed, fear, and pride when money is involved?
Hold on. And that's Polly.
Stay focused. What was the one before that?
It was a joke for the Indiana thing.
Indy was a prophet. Hang on. Now I've got the Jonah was a prophet song. All right. How do I honor God with feelings of greed, fear, and pride when money is involved? That has got to be for men especially. And this is an interesting little factoid I did not realize heading into this whole social media experience, which is this thing I'm about to say about traders doesn't apply to women. So, by the way, women are better traders than men in general. Feelings of pride and fear. Well, first of all, my sad experience with trading points me to, I say sad experience, my experience with trading, and I'm blessed that God has taken me on a journey, is that of the three things that Paula just mentioned, they're basically one: pride, greed, and fear. And what was the other one? Oh, pride. I think pride, greed, and fear. They're all the same thing. They're all, I want to be in charge. Me, me, me. It's this Babylon. Around here we call it the Babylonian mindset because of a.
This will fit what you're saying.
Okay. All right. If God is first place in your life, then you'll honor God with your money because it's God who gives thee money. Yes. It is in, oh gosh, Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy says,
Get on, Polly.
it is the Lord who gives you the ability to gain wealth. So part of it stems from having to have a different perspective on what we're doing. Money is just a hammer, right? Trading is just a hammer. It's just a tool. But we wrap ourselves up in what we do to an unhealthy degree. And we attach emotions to it that we shouldn't. A crusade that I have been on, a losing crusade, frankly, is to help traders change their vernacular. In other words, to help traders stop using the term wins and losses when referencing trades that make their accounts go up or down. You have profitable trades and you have unprofitable trades, but the only losers you can ever have is a trade that you violated your protocols, your rules, everything is right. Here's why. Because when we have a win, we internalize that. When we have a loss, we internalize that. Oh, I am a loser, or even worse, I am a winner. Now, Polly mentioned three emotions there: fear and greed and pride. And they're all wrapped up in the same me-ness. The end of that road, if you see your trading as an outgrowth of your own ability, and therefore, hey, look at me, it leads you to the world's most dangerous emotion, which there's a country song somewhere out there with this line in it, which is how I got to it: 10 feet tall and bulletproof. Now, I have been there before, and what it does is it will lead you to, on a Friday, to give back an entire week's worth of trades. Deuteronomy 8. Oh, is this the one that says, Lord, 8, 17 to 18? It is the Lord who gives you the ability
Thanks,
to get wealth.
Polly.
Thank you, Polly. These are the kind of things that the producer might do.
Polly's doing it.
Polly's doing it.
Oh,
But thou shalt remember Jehovah thy God, for it is he that giveth thee power to get wealth, that he may establish. Right. The second part of that verse, pop it back up, is the thing. Greed and fear. By the way, fear is and pride. Those are just, I don't want to have lost control. I'm worried. There's a rabbit hole I'm not going to chase, the difference between fear and anxiety. Most of what we think is fear is just anxiety. We're worried about what hasn't happened yet. Fear is imminent. But it's the second half here, or the last phrase here. God is the one who gives us the ability to get wealth, that he may establish his covenant. I try to keep Matthew 5:16 as the cornerstone of godly trading the business, which is this: let your light so shine before men that they see your good works and give glory to the Father. So as a trader, you have to automatically think, all right, I've got this trade. Kathy, if you're out there, I didn't ask you specifically if I could use you as an example, and you didn't say no. You didn't read my mind and know I was going to do this. So I'm going to blame you for not having read my mind. So we've got a member of our community who had this fantastic trade. 4.5 months this thing ran, 55%. Rolls Royce, but not the Rolls Royce you're thinking of, is a different roll. Anyway. And she's just like, ho hum. By the way, this is why women make the better traders. They don't attach their own pride and ego to what they're doing. It's got to be the glory. And so that is the answer to how do you handle the greed? How do you handle the fear? How do you handle the pride? Somehow, some way, take a step back, plan ahead so that win or loss, profit or lack of profit, loss of profit, God gets the glory for what you have just done. And how does it happen? How can you have, like right now, I've got a trade, and I'm not putting this trade out there and say, hey, look at this trade. I'm doing it kind of funny, right? I've got a pound yen trade that's been running for month, just a little over a month now. I opened it up November the 11th, and right now it's December the 21st. So it's been running for a while now. And I'm about to say, hey, look at that. I don't mention it. So, look at me, I'm a great trader. I was like, oh, bless its heart. It's still hanging on, right? It's kind of a mascot at this point. But the whole point of that is when you know that you've got a good trade fixing to close and hit your account, I say good trade. You know what I mean? Go ahead right then and there and humble yourself through prayer before you even mention it to anybody in the outside world. Make sure that you don't point the finger at you first before you go telling somebody else and expose yourself to the danger of them pointing the finger at you. Oh, look at him. No. I'm a conduit. I'm not a receptacle. That made sense. All right. Hope that answered that question. It's an ongoing pursuit. We're going to live with pride and fear and greed daily. And dying to self daily is the only answer. Sometimes hourly. I would highly recommend. If you are a day trader, trading the 5-minute chart, 15-minute chart, if you're trading the tick chart, please reach out to us and we'll pray for you and help you not do that. Anyway, pray before you even open your platform. All right. I'm going to start reading who these are from because a good host would do that.
Mm-hmm.
Trenton Thompson, 7595, says, what do you consider consistency in trading? I'm so glad you asked that because it gives me a chance to say this.
A little bit more.
3 wins out of 5. By the way, the producer's doing a fantastic job tonight. If we could applaud, we would. Here's what consistency is. And people hate it when I generalize, but this is it. Consistency is doing the same thing, the same way, the same time, every time. That is consistency. And consistency are the bricks that you lay in the foundation of discipline. And discipline is the one and only thing that makes you successful. Strategy, picking the right stock, none of that matters. Discipline is the one and only singular thing that makes successful traders. The good news is discipline is built by consistency. Every day, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting the same result. So, pop it back up again because I want to reference in my name. Trenton Thompson. Consistency. 3 out of 5. It could be 0 out of 5. And if you traded all 5 trades the exact same way, the exact same time, every day I'm doing my thing. I'm going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with my checklist. I'm entering the trade based on this set of rules, and I never deviate. Doesn't matter if I'm 0 for 5. The Saints have been more than that of late, but we're going to the Super Bowl. It doesn't matter. Here's why. We look at we look and we experience our trading day by day, sometimes hour by hour. If you're a tick chart trader, sometimes moment by moment, please let us know so we can pray for you. I'm not a fan of the tick chart, just so you know. We look at it on such a small time frame, and we evaluate ourselves and we evaluate our system and all that on such a small time frame. But you really do have to take a step back, literally and figuratively, and say, I'm not, to the best of my ability, I am not going to draw a conclusion about myself or my system today. I will wait to get to the end of the week. It is going to be virtually impossible to keep the thoughts at bay, but keep the actions at bay. I'm not going to draw a conclusion. I'm going to feel, sure, I've lost 0 for 5. Take a step back, walk outside, howl at the moon for 5 minutes, get it out of your system, and then go back to what you were doing. But then at the end of the week, at the end of the month, at the end of the quarter, then sit down and say, okay, I know I have traded with consistency, trade by trade. Now let's see what's the system saying. Because here's the reality. You can be consistent and go 0 for 5. I tell the story all the time, and maybe this is why God put me through it. Back in May, I had the worst month I've ever had trading the system that I'm currently trading for. I'm going on 4 years now, same system. And I had at one point an 8-trade losing streak. I'm a swing trader, right? So 8 trades was like 2.5 weeks without a win. And then I had 1 win and like 3 or 4 more losses. So yeah, 8 trades in a row, but that was like 14 out of 15 losses. I go back and look at my testing that I had done, my back testing. Lo and behold, it predicted this could happen. So as long as I'm being consistent, the results will work themselves out over time. But you just have to live through that over time. I liken it to Psalm 23. David said, even though, yea though, right? Even though I'm walking through the valley of the shadow of death, not the valley of death, the valley of, boy, it sure feels like death. That's what it was, right? The valley of, all right, I'm just going to say this. This is the New Pepper translation. The valley of this sucks. That's what he was walking through. The valley of this sucks. God is with him. That's all that matters. But God's presence didn't magically teleport him to the end of the valley of this sucks. He had to get up every day, put one foot in front of the other, until eventually he came out the other side of the valley of this sucks. So consistency is not measured in wins and losses. Consistency is measured in, did I do everything that I know I was supposed to do today? Can you look yourself in the mirror and say, yeah, today I traded 100% without a doubt the way I was supposed to. The results are not my concern. Eventually, I will stop and evaluate to see if this system that I'm trading is really doing what it's supposed to. But that's not today, and that's not tomorrow, and it's not this week. That's by the way, it's circled on the calendar. Mine's circled on the calendar. It's December 31st. That's consistency. If you can look yourself in the mirror every day, if you can hold the Bible up as a mirror, Paul says, now we see in the mirror darkly, but then face to face. If you can hold the Bible up as a mirror and say, I traded today without sin, then that's all. That is the only thing you can do. I'm going to get close to this one. You can't control the markets. I know because I've tried. I have sat, and you're thinking, he's nuts. I've sat at my screen and I've stared really hard at my screen. And price didn't do what I wanted it to just because I was staring really hard at my screen. Did that stop me from staring at my screen really hard? I don't want to talk about it. All right. Next question. Thank you, Trent Thomas, for that question.
Okay.
Uh-oh. Producer's scrambling now. There we go.
There's a lot of questions.
How much time does trading actually take? Well, there's two aspects to how much time does trading take. There's the how much time does it take to set up and plan and create the system that I'm going to take. And that could be 10 minutes if you're buying a plan. That could be a month if you're building a plan. Probably not going to be more than a month. Then there's how much time does it take every day to trade? Well, that's part of your plan. I personally, in my main system that I trade for 15 minutes a day. At the end of the day, I'm a swing trader, and I trade at the end of the day for reasons. Good reasons, but still reasons. My buddy Brian, who has been on this podcast before with Trade Masters, does all of his trading for 1 hour on a Monday night. I think that's not much. Let me tell you about consistency. Brian, as long as I have known him, he has traded every single Monday night at 7 years. How about consistency? I've got a system that I trade, the wheel, right? We will actually cover the wheel during the challenge. One of the best, simplest, easiest, one of my favorite strategies in the world. It's an option system, 1 hour a month. That's it. And then I've got my system, and Paulie's got a system that happens while we're asleep. So technically speaking, from a click and button standpoint, it takes us 0 hours, minutes a day. Trading takes as long as it takes. And it should take no more than that. You should go into it with how much time, not how much time can I spend trading, but how much time do I want to spend trading? How much time should I spend trading, right? Or should I be trading, or should I be reading a book to my kids? Should I be trading or going on a date night? Should I be trading or working? Should I be trading at 70 miles an hour with the laptop open next to me on the truck in traffic? For random example, or not? All right, moving on before I he's having to choose questions. Thank you for sending the questions in, by the way. This is
This one.
all right. Do you have to be greedy or ruthless to succeed at trading? Boy, that was tough. Greed and ruthlessness. Okay, greed is an emotion. My impression of the idea of ruthless is an activity rooted in an emotion. But neither. Trading should be no more as emotional. Trading should be no more emotional than brushing your teeth. No. I have a trading robot that I turn on, and it goes and does its thing. And I wake up every morning and see what it did. That's it. Trading is not a zero-sum game. Just because if I'm winning, someone else is losing. That's not true at all. I have seen traders take the exact opposite side of a trade and both win. I've seen them both lose. Trading is not a zero-sum game where if I'm winning, someone else is losing. That's not how it works. Can everybody win? Possibly. Think about that. I buy Acme, and I get in at 100, and I get out at 150. Okay? Someone bought Acme from me at 150. Does that mean they're losing? I don't know. Well, that's what Acme does after that. Someone sold Acme to me at 100. Maybe they were selling short. Maybe it was they're closing their options. It doesn't matter. Maybe they're buying on a pullback. Right? The other day, at some point here in the last 3 months, the market took a dip, pretty big dip. People think, oh, people lost money. Maybe. Or people say, ooh, stuff's on sale. Buy, as Jim Cramer would say. By the way, someone out there, some brilliant person out there, this is a rabbit, I know, I'm sorry, has the inverse Cramer fund. Invest in that, right? Whatever Jim Cramer says, they do the opposite, and they're making like 30% a year. Anyway, that's a thing. Paula's on fire tonight. I agree 100%. If I'm leaving a losing side, I need a buyer to bail me out. Need to lose less, so I need them. We don't know the reason that they are doing what they're doing. And we can't, by the way, okay, first things first. If there's this idea out there that says, if I'm in a losing trade, I'm bailing out, and Paulie's is getting in where I'm getting out, therefore he's going to lose too. That's not the case, right? Market makers are who we're buying and selling from. If you don't know what a market maker is, go look it up. That sounded harsh. A market maker is somebody whose job it is to make sure that when you hit the buy button, you get filled, and when you hit the sell button, you get filled. They make their money by buying and selling everybody's everything, and at the end of the day, they've made a commission off of all of that. So don't get to think, oh, poor Bob, I just dumped 100 shares of Acme, which is going to the toilet on poor Bob out there. No, you dumped it on BlackRock Market Making Incorporated, whose job it is to make sure the market functions. So don't worry about the person on the other side of your transaction. It's just a computer that's making sure that the markets are flowing. But again, person could be doing exactly what they want to do. They could be thrilled that you are selling them Acme at an all-time high for reasons. Doesn't matter. All we can do is keep ourselves in alignment with our purpose and leave the rest to God. Joshua 1, chapter 1, I think it's verse 8 and 9, where God says, this book of the law, this one right here, well, half of this one, shall not depart from your mouth, but you shall meditate in it day and night. And then, I'm skipping parts, and then he will make your way prosperous, and then you will have good success. And I know I just said the word prosperous, which is prosperity. He said prosperity. I know. But prosperity is a biblical principle. And I didn't write it. Yeah. It was in my Bible when I woke up this morning. I love that phrase. Next one up.
All right. I saw this one.
How much for your trading robot? I tell you what, one of the things that we do in our system / course / program is teach you how to make your own. And this, by the way, is the bedrock of becoming a successful trader. Knowing your system so intimately that you can go out and do it as emotionless as brushing your teeth because you were instrumental in the creation of it. And I'm going to say this, and people are going to say, well, what, how? No. Every single trader should have their system automated. Even if you never plan to trade it automatedly. I am just making up words left and right. Oh, come on. That was a perfect, I'm making up words left and right.
Words are made up.
All words are made up, as Thor said. My producer is great for the clickety-clickety, but for the repartee, yeah. Anyway, here's the reason every single trader should have their system automated, so that you can test the thing at the click of a button. Testing is your superpower as a trader, is testing it. And once you have it built and it's in a program, you can go click and get 100 trades worth of data in the click of a button. Everybody should have that. Well, how do I get my system to, we show you, and I'll tell you exactly how we do ours, right? I have two AIs. I've got an AI supervisor and an AI underling, and the one AI controls the other AI. Between the two of them, they spit out algorithms left and right. It is, I know nothing about, I'm 51 years old. Do I look like a coder to you? No. I can't even pick a decent NFL team. Oh, I know. But I'm so thrilled the Saints won today. They beat a team that was actually found a team worse than them. All right, moving on.
Probably last question.
How much money do I need to start, and what is realistic? To get started, you need exactly $0. And to get started, you should only ever have $0. Every single person should start trading what's called paper trading or demo trading with a demo account. Go to TradingView. I'm not a shill for TradingView. I don't make money from them. I give money to them. But TradingView is ubiquitous. Everyone can get it. Well, here's why I love TradingView. Because what you see on your laptop is exactly what you see on your phone. It looks identical. I love TradingView for that reason. Also, anybody can sign up for a free account, and anybody can sign up for a paper trading account through TradingView. You should spend the first 3 months of any new system, any new market, any new time frame. You should spend the first 3 months on demo. That's risk management. Why put any money at risk before you know, A, that your system can do what it's supposed to do, and B, that you can do what you're supposed to do with your system. The best system in the world is pointless if you can't trade it correctly. And by the way, for those of you who've never heard me say this, if you change one thing in your system, if your system is 10 steps and you follow 9 of them, well, guess what? You're not trading your system. You're trading a very similar system, but it's not your system, and you have no idea what it's going to do. So do not at all put any money into trading for the first 3 months until you know that you are capable of being disciplined, consistency, day after day, doing the same thing. And then when time comes to, what do you mean on demo? Okay, so TradingView will give you a $100,000 fake money, monopoly money, digital monopoly money account. Thank you, Baldy. So that you can sign up for that, and you can trade real trades with fake money and see how things are working. So you do that for 3 months to see how well can you. It's like people say, well, I can't get into it because it feels like a video game. Okay, fine. Force yourself, because you're trying to build discipline here. So force yourself for 3 months. And then you're going to open an account with a real broker, and you're going to put in a small amount of money into that account, a laughably small. If you're one of our students and we're steering you towards Forex for reasons, you're going to start with $10, right? But no matter what you do, when you first start trading something new system, new time frame, new market, and you're ready to trade real money, never, ever put more than 1 day's pay into that account. Why 1 day's pay? Well, because it's flexible, right? 1 day's pay for Elon Musk is different than 1 day's pay for me or for the producer over here. So you have a day's pay. 1 day's pay, whatever it means to you. People can generally survive if they lose 1 day. By the way, if you're trading with proper risk management, which means I have a number that I trade as risk per trade, right? So me personally, 1% per trade. I've got a prop firm that I do 0.5% per trade. So that means I've got to lose 100 trades in a row to lose it all. And I don't actually think you can mathematically lose it all if you're risking 1% per trade. So that whole, like, you go halfway and then you go halfway again and you never actually get there. I don't think you can actually lose everything. But let's say that you did. Well, you've lost 1 day's pay. It's not going to kill you, right? Don't absolutely trade that for a while. And then you slowly ramp up. So how much money do you need to start trading? You need 0. And you absolutely should start with 0, because trading is not about adrenaline. Trading is not about the satisfaction that you get from having a good trade and seeing more zeros in your account. Trading is about discipline, doing the same thing over and over again, and getting to the point where you're like, well, okay, hang on, let me stop what I'm doing to go trade. Dadgummit, I got to trade today. Okay, hang on, I'm done. Now I can get back to real life. That's what trading is. Disciplined trading is, I got to go brush my teeth. I got to go crank the car. I got to whatever. That's disciplined trading. And I got to go watch the Saints on Sunday.
Or don't.
That requires a whole other level of discipline. By the way, when King James had his minions translate this originally, The fruit of the Spirit was love, joy, peace, long suffering, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. And he put long suffering in there because he knew one day there would be New Orleans Saints fans, and we know all about long suffering. All right, any more questions, or would that be a great thing to end
I
on?
think that's a great thing.
That's a great thing to end on.
The
Guys,
suffering of the Saints.
long suffering of the Saints. We're going to the Super Bowl in 2027. All right, we will be back next week. By the way, we are making a shift in our production. So in the past, Sunday night has always been sort of alternating between, it's always been live, but it's been Bible study for traders where I just teach, and then interviews with traders, Christian Trader Talk, we call it. My plan, my endeavor is to Sunday night will be Christian Trader Talk from now on. And the Bible study for traders will shift over to video of the week. Because the good news there is that when I get excited and talk really fast, if it's a video, it's a pre-recorded video. By the way, thank you guys for being here. You can slow me down with a little button and turn it to 0.75. So, plus the editor has some disturbing, I said the producer, the editor has some disturbing things he wants to try editing wise. So if you see funny things popping up around my head from now on, we know who to blame. So with that, folks, thank you all for being here, and I will see y'all next week.